Well, take a look at this machine. It is called the long arm, and it is how the quilt is actually quilted. Joined once again by the owner here in Quilting Quarters in Almonte, Sue Shute. How does this machine work? So it looks pretty technical.
A little bit. It's all run by computer.
That's pretty crazy.
What I do is we pick the pattern that the lady would like on her quilt. She picks her thread also, and then the computer program gets all set up. So this is the pattern that will be put on this quilt.
Quilted on here. It
will do one row at a time, and wait for me to advance it up. So I do a little bit of work, but this does it all.
Okay.
Okay.
So what would be the first step? We've already kind of done a row here, I think. Oh, we haven't.
Not yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you. So
Perfect.
Right now it's all set up, ready to go. So I'm going to tell it.
So you punch in the numbers, basically.
Quilt.
And this thing is going to go. Wow.
And it moves all by itself.
And you obviously have to thread it.
Yes. So there's thread back there, and then there's a really big bobbin. Bigger than your normal sewing machine bobbin. Underneath. So it's very much like a sewing machine, but it's all goes by itself.
Wow.
So now it's just telling me to do that.
Punch it.
And now it's ready to go.
Cool. And so how do people pick the pattern of the quilt they want?
Some people come in and just say to me, go to it.
I trust you.
Yeah.
What do you
Other
think?
people will say, no, I want flowers or I want stars. If it's a baby quilt, sometimes we put bears on it.
Okay.
And it all depends on what kind of quilt it is. A lot of ladies I've been quilting on the long arm for over 10 years. So a lot of them say just go to it. Yeah.
I trust you. And what about in terms of thread? Can you change the thread coloring, or do you always?
Can. Nope. You can.
The same.
Yeah. What we use on the top though is what we use on the bottom, just to keep everything very consistent.
Okay.
As it quilts, so the line was black. As it's quilts, it turns red. So if the thread does break, I can tell exactly where it is, and it tells me that the thread's broken, or it tells me that it ran out of bobbin thread.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. That's very high tech. Yeah. And I can see it's going pretty fast.
Yeah.
Going by hand, this would take hours.
Weeks, months. Yeah. Depends on how long you work at it, but this one is just what's called an all-over pattern. So top to bottom, side to side, the whole quilt, the same pattern. Whereas if you were hand quilting, you would probably quilt more in the ditch and put a little pattern maybe in here. The quilt behind you. So you can
kind of get a little more creative. Is that what it allows you to do?
Yes.
And how long does it take to actually quilt something this size?
That would probably take about 3 hours.
3 hours. That's not bad, actually.
Speeds up quite a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. And in terms of patterns, how many different patterns do you have in terms of what you could choose on here?
About 900.
900. So it must take someone quite a while to pick what they want.
It does. When they come in, I kind of get a feel of what they want, so we can go through it pretty quickly. But a lot of people just kind of
have an idea.
Yeah, just
or
all
trust
over,
your judgment.
or flowers.
And you know those 900 patterns off by heart by now, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for showing us how this works. I'm absolutely fascinated by this, and I can't wait to perhaps start my own project, but we're going to do it a little bit smaller. We're going to be making pillowcases coming up, and you're actually going to be teaching me how to use a sewing machine. So stay with us. Lots more to come here on CTV Morning Live.